Hi, sorry about the video going over 10 minutes. This is part 2. I wanted to end with one little last comment that I couldn't get on the other one. You're talking about how on the internet there are these strong atheists that claim that there's absolute evidence that God does not exist. Well, I haven't seen everything on the internet, so I couldn't possibly, tell you, but I feel that from the arguments I have seen that you're misrepresenting their arguments. It's one thing to say that there's scientific evidence against God, which you are right, there is not. There is not, because there isn't scientific evidence against anything. Secondly, there are those who claim that there's no scientific evidence to prove God. They're right. Then you say that there's no scientific evidence to prove atheism either. Again, you're absolutely right. But having read Dennett and Dawkins and the whole slew of people that have just come out, what they seem to be saying is that the God concept as it is understood is inherently contradictory, or that it is stated, or that it is stated in language which is nonsensical, so that it can't exist by virtue of the fact that squares can't have circles and that elephants can't be inside bottles. So I think you're confusing those who claim that the God concept isn't even a viable concept versus those who say there's absolute evidence against. Because even Dawkins and Dennett's and I'm forgetting the other guy that I was just thinking of, but what they do is they say repeatedly there's not a shred of evidence to prove God's existence, therefore it's a failed hypothesis. That's a very different thing than saying we know God doesn't absolutely exist. I think what they're specifically doing is saying we believe God doesn't exist because of the lack of evidence. I don't think I've ever seen anyone say, I am absolutely sure there's no God because of scientific proof. I don't think I've ever seen that. What I've seen is people talk about the lack of evidence, and after all, the burden of proof on any theory is on the person who posits something, not on the person who doubts it. So there's something odd about you equating the lack of a belief in God and the belief in a God. It seems to me that the way science works, the burden of proof is on them, not on me. After all, the way we do things in science is we doubt them and we skeptically disbelieve in them until we have evidence otherwise. If we believed in everything and anything that we didn't have evidence against, especially if we counted anything in that category that was nonsensically stated, we would have an entire plethora of theories that make absolutely no sense, or have absolutely no evidence, or even couldn't have any evidence because of the way they are stated, that we would have to see as being equal to other theories that simply don't have enough evidence yet, or haven't been equally studied. And we really don't want to do that. We don't want to equate nonsensically stated theories and theories that have absolutely no evidence, even though people have tried, have absolutely no evidence, and equate those with either the disbelief in something because of a lack of evidence, or to equate it with theories that have some evidence but not a lot yet. I think there's a very big difference between something that is at least in the running and something that isn't. And also there's a very big difference between those who disbelieve until they have evidence versus those who will only disbelieve after something has been proven false. Because after all, you can't really prove anything false, technically. The only way you could prove the God concept false, or any concept false, would be to fly through the universe and look in every molecule and look in everywhere to find out whether a certain phenomenon exists. If you can't do that, technically you really can't disprove anything. I realize that's a very exacting thing, but those of us who have doctoral degrees, we tend to learn things in this exacting sort of way. It's very anal, I realize. But that was just something for you to chew on. I hope you respond. Talk to you later.